Tupac is overrated. Yes, you read the title correct. But stop! Before you write that strongly worded letter, before you send me death threats, before you try to assassinate my character, before you call me stupid, dumb, or misguided, before you call me a lost soul, before you say I know nothing about music or hip-hop, listen to what I have to say. I don't think that Tupac Shakur is overrated as a musician, as a hip-hop artist. I think that he's overrated as a role model. I think that the rise and fall in life and death of Tupac Shakur is a cautionary tale, more so like one of Aesop's fables, more than a person to emulate. Tupac is a polarizing figure, and as much positive as he put into his music, his life was in turmoil, and he was a self-destructive person. Energy and environment in which Tupac created for himself was the catalyst that eventually led to his death and destruction. There's nothing positive about being ignorant. There's nothing positive about going to prison. There's nothing positive about disrespecting women. There's nothing positive about violence for the sake of violence. You know, Tupac was always talking about enemies, you know,
when we ride on our enemies.
But I think that the biggest enemy that we all have is ourselves, 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 ourselves. If you would use the same drive and energy to fight the enemy within, I believe that we all would be better off as a species. I never understood why people had this insatiable need to glorify everything that's negative. You can learn a lot about a person and their mentality and the perspective in which they see the world by people who they emulate and by people who they choose to call heroes. Young people seem to gravitate and latch on to everything in life that's negative, to materialism, to excess, to violence, to misogyny, to narcissism. They cast aside and marginalize things that are intellectual, progressive, and stable. To me, Tupac wasn't a hero. Tupac was a victim of his own fame, a victim of his own fortune, a victim of his own ambition, a victim of his own passions, a victim of his own confusion, a victim of his own contempt, a victim of his own hate. By saying only God can judge me and getting a tattoo of praying hands with rosary beads, that doesn't justify all the negative energy that you put into the world, and it doesn't forgive your actions on an individual basis. It's funny in a non-funny way that he became a victim of the subjects of his own songs, you know?
Gotta be careful, can't let the evil of the money trap me. So when you see me, nigga, you better holler at me.
It's this cavalier, I don't give a fuck attitude that so many young men display over and over and over, and it's doing nothing but sending them to an early grave and sending them to prison, which is also a grave for the living. I'm making this video not to tarnish the legacy of Tupac, but simply because we don't need any more Tupac Shakurs. We don't need any more young men with blind rage and ambition. We don't need any more angry, frustrated young men raging against nothing in particular. We don't need any more young men sitting in penitentiaries year after year after year after year, learning how to become better criminals. I know well as anyone that Tupac made a lot of positive songs, but I would argue as his career progressed and he got older, his songs had a different focus. They were more about violence against other black people and less about people overcoming their struggles. Tupac is no role model. Neil deGrasse Tyson is a role model. No, heroes shouldn't be people like Tupac. They should be people like Harry Belafonte and John Lennon and Saul Williams and Patrice Lumumba and Assata Shakur and Mumia Abu-Jamal and Sundiata Acoli. People that don't embrace their environment and become victim of it, but people that overcome their environment and transcend it and show people how you can come from nothing and become something more.
Do you even know that Tupac was a smart man? He went to Juilliard. He was a fucking artist. He was a genius creatively. He was a creative genius. He put together more music and did more things than most people can even fathom. Not only that, but he had a lot of positive things. Go back and look at Tupac old stuff. You talking about Tupac wasn't positive when you don't even know what you're talking about. Tupac was innovative, political. He talked about a lot of stuff in the community that we deal with. Go back to some of his old stuff before he got big. Look at some of the stuff he talked about. Just look at it. I mean, really pay attention to stuff that he talked about, so you can really know what the fuck he was talking about. Because if you think that Tupac wasn't positive, then you an idiot. You a fucking idiot. He got caught up in the wrong shit and got killed. That's something else. Given. That's another video though. I ain't even gonna post about that.
The death of Tupac Shakur is really a series of unfortunate events, and when I think about it, I often wonder, is it art imitating life or life imitating art. And what I mean by that is, I wonder, was Tupac really the person that he portrayed himself to be, or was he just acting out a role? And did he die because he was trying to live up to the things that he talked about in his music? Because he's really a two-sided type of person, because he would talk about, all these positive things and then turn around and do all these negative things. So was he just that complicated of a person, or was there a struggle of him trying to find himself? It's really all fascinating to me.
Cheers to Mona Lisa, Medusa the liquid. Broken make Gandhi grab the burner, wanna shoot shit. Rhymes that'll make the Pope wanna get his dick sucked. Had Virgin Mary doing lines in the pickup. Make Sarah Palin deep throat till she hiccup. Had TD Jakes round his bitch doing stick-ups. Rhymes so real, thought I wrote it in pop plug. Told me in my dreams that these niggas is not thugs. Tag. What's in the portfolio? Sicker than polio. Shit so personal, my mind can't listen to my oh so original. Niggas extra crispy, bars so Bukowski, soda pop Pinsky. Well, Max could never be number one. Your time's done, bomb Philly smelling like napalm. Your day's gone, Lexington Hughes with a blue fuse and a screw loose. Maya Angelou abused child with a notebook. Spitting like Kipling with a tooth missing. Tongue bring torture to men, women, and children. The memoir sacred, hit in the basement. Await my next piece at a formal engagement. Crowds walk for miles.